Today I'm going to show you how to synchronize Pro Tools with an Akai MPC 2000 XL drum sequencer. The one thing that you're going to want to do, especially if your drum pattern starts at 1, like most of us do, when it starts at 1, we hit that play button, it kicks right off. What we're going to want to do when we're building a sequence, especially if we want Pro Tools to be the master of the time code, we're going to have to go into the Akai drum machine and set up at least 5 seconds of pre-roll. Now what you're going to do is you're going to create an empty sequence. Set that for about 5 seconds. Just let it run with nothing in it. And then have your sequence with the drum pattern following right behind that empty sequence. That way it gives your drum pattern just won't start the minute you hit play on Pro Tools. So if your drum pattern is sitting there on 1 and you hit the space bar to start Pro Tools, it's going to start that drum pattern somewhere in the middle. So you want to give it some pre-roll, give it time to catch up, and then everything will work exactly the way it's supposed to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the Akai MPC 2000 XL, and we just got a basic beat, nothing grand, just a basic beat going, and I'm going to show you what you need to do and how to set up that empty sequence before your drum pattern actually starts. So what you're going to do, you're going to set your empty sequence, say on sequence 1, and have your drum pattern start on sequence 2. Now you're probably going, well, what if I've already recorded my drum pattern? Then what do I do? Well, if your drum pattern is on sequence 1, then you'll go to sequence 2 and set that up for 5 seconds. And then have sequence 1 follow. And that way, Pro Tools will start and you can record your drum pattern directly into Pro Tools. I'm going to show you how to do that. Stand by while we get this set up, and we'll be back with you right after this message. Okay guys, if you can see that screen, that's the display of the Akai MPC 2000 XL. And what I have here is my drum pattern starts here with sequence 3, and I'll go ahead and play that for you. Well, I'm going to show you what will happen if we try to start Pro Tools, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to leave it right here on the drum display sequencer, but I'm going to go over and I'm going to start Pro Tools, and it's going to not start with on that downbeat with the kick. It's going to start somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to show you why you need to set that empty pre-roll on another sequence. Alright, now I'm at Pro Tools right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and just hit play with Pro Tools and watch how the drum sequencer starts. See, it didn't start with the kick. It didn't come down on the kick, on the downbeat. It just started somewhere in the middle. Okay, we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to go to our drum machine on the MPC 2000, and here it says next sequence. Right there. So you're going to press that, and it's going to bring up this display. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I have an empty sequence on drum pattern on sequence number 4. Alright, so I want to go there and make sure that starts at 1. Okay, now if you can see right here, that says sequence 4. That's my empty pattern. So actually what I want to do is go up here and say sequence 4, and then we know the drum pattern is on 3. So if you can see that, sequence 4 is our empty pattern. Sequence 3 is what a drum pattern is. Now we're going to go over here and start Pro Tools. Tell Pro Tools to generate MIDI time code. We're not dealing with MIDI clock now because Pro Tools does not send MIDI clock, not the M-powered version. And I'm not sure if the LE version does, but the M-powered version does not send MIDI clock. But the MPC 2000 XL will accept MIDI timecode. You just want to make sure that you have it set for 30 frames per second. Now let me show you that before we get started so that you'll understand that. I want to walk you through every step. Now if you look at that display, how it says sync in is coming into in port number 1, and I have it set for MIDI time code, and the frame rate is 30. Now there's two frame rates. There's 30 drop frame, and then there's just 30 frames per second. You want it set there. Now we're going to go back over to the next sequence button. We're going to select that, and you'll see there the empty sequence is on sequence number 4, and we'll go down and we'll set our drum pattern for sequence number 3. Now we want you to pay attention to what happens now. I'm going to start Pro Tools, and instead of it starting somewhere in the middle, it's going to kick right off on the downbeat. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit play. I'm not going to record the pattern, and watch what happens. Okay, you see it rolling? Now watch. When it gets to 3, it's going to just, see? Kick right off. And Pro Tools is rolling over there. Now I'm going to show you how I did that. It's very important, guys, that you set that empty sequence up, especially if Pro Tools is the time code master. Okay, I stopped it with Pro Tools. Now you understand how to set the MPC up. Let's go deal with, I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the empty sequence of 4, and my drum pattern is on 3. Now yours might be, in case where you guys may have already recorded your drum pattern, you say, what if I've already recorded it? Well, your sequence is on sequence 1, then you're going to make your empty sequence on sequence 2. So in other words, and then you're going to set that for 5 seconds at least. You want to give it some pre-roll. Okay guys, I'll be right back with you, and we're going to get over here to Pro Tools and show you what you need to do to generate that time code. My name is Sam Johnson, audio engineer here at the Audio Workshop Recording Studios in Victorville, California. Stand by.